Hi there, welcome back to AlextheRed&More. Hope you're all doing well today. Today's video I'm going to be going through Liverpool's current front five options up front. So we're going to be looking at how I'd rank them from most important to least important, the priority I'd give them if all available and fit at the same time. So let's get into it. Okay, so still the number one most important of Liverpool's forwards is still, of course, the Egyptian king himself, Mohamed Salah. Yes, so he's always the first choice when all available fit, mainly because he's always, despite him missing several chances and penalties in this season and in previous before, he's always the most consistent in terms of goal scoring. As I remember, he always popped off the goals in the times when Liverpool played that the most bad. So that consistency will be very, very important when Liverpool do get into a winning good form again, which I hope to see at the start of this upcoming season. And he always has the most wonder goal moments, of course, as well, especially his first season all the way back in 2017-18, and they keep saying he's 1, 2, 3, 4 season wonder, and he just keeps proving them wrong. Look, I understand that Messi's always miles ahead of him, and that Egyptian Messi's just ridiculous, but come on, he's still world class in my mind, and Jurgen Klopp made him that way. So of course Salah is of course still the number one front forward for Liverpool, and let's hope he stays for at least one more year. Now the second most important of Liverpool's front forwards is Cody Gakpo. Yes, that's right. As I made a video before chanting "See Gakpo," but you know why he's the second most after Salah is because he's the Firmino replacement. Yes, that's right, the Firmino replacement. He can definitely play in that false nine position where like Firmino is totally redefined what being a number 9 means. So you can see how good he is at holding the ball and bringing other people into play, and so of course it's much better to Klopp's preferred method of attacking, which has worked in the past, and like Nunes, who is more of a direct target man but isn't as good as bringing others into play like Firmino and Gakpo were. And you really saw that if Gakpo arrived more like the summer of last season, I definitely think Liverpool finished high up the table and potentially in the top 4 if someone like Gakpo was around before. So he's definitely the second one to get in the front three after Salah, even more than Diaz. I'll come into him now. So of course that leads me into Liverpool's front three. So of course that is Luis Diaz will be the final one to get into Liverpool's front three if all 5 available fit. So for Diaz, I think he's been very unlucky with his injuries, especially last season. And of course he's still not had a full season under that because he only arrived in January 2022, so only played about just under half the season, where we nearly won the quadruple. And of course he's just gone with all that World Cup break. They tried to rush him back after that, but of course that meant he couldn't come back till like April time, so he only played from August till start of October last year, and just mid-April to end of May, so he's really only been in action for only like 3 months of the whole season, and that was separated by the World Cup and his massive injury layoff. So of course, but what I do remember most about Diaz from last season was that wonder strike against Crystal Palace to ensure we didn't lose on the first home game for the season. And only if he didn't get injured, who knows, maybe Nunes would have done a lot better with Diaz in the team. I thought Diaz was the key in Nunes being a big goal scorer, but hopefully this is finally Diaz's proper breakthrough season. Number 4 in ranking Liverpool's 5 forwards is Diogo Jota, nickname many of us call him Jota the Slotter, because that's exactly why he's always slots the ball away in very important times, especially that last minute winner against Tottenham where we all thought we bottled it from 3-0 up going to 3-3, but then Jota mistake from Moore and Jota slots it away. And so he's only number 4 in my ranking and just outside Liverpool's front three in my opinion, mainly because of his injury record. I remember especially 2 seasons ago when we first signed him and that massive injury enough for like 3 months where we so struggled without him, and then he came back and helped us get a top 4 finish that season, and even this season he's been out for a similar amount of time, like at least 2 months I think, and it took him quite a bit of a while to get back into some goal scoring form, but the April just gone, he really did help a lot, especially the game against Nottingham Forest, I remember, which I went to see myself, where he scored 2 quick goals. So, and that was good. That was clear that Jota can come back into the team when needed and put a good shift in, or come off the bench when needed, when Liverpool need a change of fortune to help us win a game. And I still think Jota can have that through this upcoming season too. That means I have to currently rank Darwin Núñez at the bottom of Liverpool's current front 5 options. I was really hoping at the start of last season he would be the main one to guide us to that. Things Liverpool just about missed out on, but how wrong I was. But that doesn't not mean I've totally given up on his whole Liverpool career. Unfortunately, the biggest problem was the price tag and the expectation that came with it, because his comparisons to Haaland really should have never ever been made, should they? Because if anything, Diaz should have been the one more compared to Haaland, because I viewed him as more the one that could make a difference than Núñez. But yeah, so all those comparisons to Haaland really did come back to bite us a lot, really. And so I see some of Liverpool's rivals calling him like Neil Grind, Andy Carroll, or Noodles, and that was justified for quite a bit of the season. But anyone saying he's the worst signing under Liverpool's history are totally wrong, because I can easily name about 3 or 4 now. Ricky Lambert is one, of course. Don't also forget Lazar Markovic, another. Fabio Borini, Mario Balotelli. So see, I can name 4 worse signings already. And of course that means there's a 5th, Andy Carroll was worse. So as a signing overall, he's definitely not the worst Liverpool have ever made. As I said, it's not just him being flop that's made Liverpool so awful. The season just gone, it's the problem with midfield and defence was way worse, and the over tightness of being in the quadruple chase all last season, and a lack of healing time is even more of a reason than just Darwin Núñez being thrown into the mix and his chaos not helping Liverpool get anywhere at the table. But as I said previously, Luis Diaz could be the key to help him getting closer to what he was at Benfica. And let's just see, and him and Gakpo look good in some games together as well. I remember in the first part, especially that Liverpool 7, Man United 0, when both of those scored like twice in that game to help us lift that 7-up trophy. I will never forget that. And so, even though he ranks bottom of my Liverpool forward 5 list, I still think there's a future for him in some regards at Liverpool, even though it mainly only just be from the bench. So I think he'll most likely be involved mainly in like the Europa League games. I'd start him in all the Europa League group games, and also maybe like the last 16 part of the Europa League. And then focus on a more stronger squad if Liverpool at least reach the quarterfinals in that. And you never know. You never know if he could be the main decider in Liverpool winning trophy. You just have to wait.